Uber. Yes, Uber stock. What is happening in the world? Welcome, guys and gals, to Barry Charles, your one-stop shop for everything finance, as we look into Uber technologies. As we're going to do a stock analysis and intrinsic value on this company for you right here, right now in this episode. What first we'll talk about is Uber as a business, what's happening in the company, and look at the business model, how they actually make money. Then we'll check out two positives and two negatives for the company in terms of growth going into the future. And then we'll do a deep dive into the stock analysis and intrinsic value for you right here at Barry Charles, where all your information comes to life. We will check out free cash flow, return on invested capital, and so much more as you get a deep dive into what this business is about, how they're making their money. Is the financials actually worth what the share price is? And then we'll give you a potential intrinsic value. Not financial advice. Do your own research before you invest into any stock. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Let's get to it. Uber stock analysis right here for you. Welcome, guys and gals, back to the channel. Yes, we are doing Uber. Yes, the stock that continues to deliver. What is this company all about? Well, let's get to it. Remember to smash the subscribe button. Would be awesome. Make the world a better place. But yes, what is Uber? What is this company all about? Well, Uber is a conglomerate in the space of ride sharing. It's one of the best ride hailing businesses in the world. It also operates as a global in the eats market behind DoorDash. You got freight logistics and Uber Freight with all its platforms on its app, where you connect customers with drivers, restaurants, and shippers, facilitating millions of transactions daily. Yes, daily, folks, not weekly, daily. Over 1 million transactions keep going through the Uber network. How exciting. How does Uber make money? That's what you want to know. What is the business model? What really helps to make money? Well, here are 5 main contributing factors in terms of that. They got the ride hailing business, basically a taxi service, getting you from point A to point B. And how Uber makes money from that is they take 20 to 30% of their profit of what you pay. So if you paid $100 for your ride, it'll cost you, the company Uber will get $20 to $30 per transaction in that sense. So fantastic. And they get a cut from the subcontractor, so they just keep on making moolah. Also, they make money, of course, from their Uber Eats restaurant, a percentage of each order. So basically, they get a percentage of each order. The same concept. If, say, they get $50, they might get $5 of their transaction. So that's how they make their money from that. They also are in the freight business. Yes. How do they make money from the freights? Well, they get money from service fees from each transaction from the carrier to the shipper. So they get a little bit of moolah from that transaction. Advertising, which is one of the newest things coming into that. They sell spaces on their Uber app. So you can see all these restaurants and businesses on the app, and they get higher priority to get more sales. Subscription service is the 5th one. They're offering you an Uber One membership. If you're in that membership, you get extra discounts on meals and ride sharing. So that's what's happening in the space with Uber. That's just a bit of a small space of what's happening there. But yeah, their scalability can continue to rise as they don't actually own the assets of the restaurants and the taxis at the moment, although they are starting to go into that field. But a lot of it is the the person driving the vehicle owns the vehicle, so they're not running all the cost of running those vehicles at the moment. So that's where Uber is. And at the moment, in terms of a business, now it's time to look at two positives and two negatives of Uber and positive growth going into the future. What is going to impact that? What's going to help going into 25 and beyond? Well, number one of the positive factors right here, right now, is expanding profit margins and cost optimization. So they are making money at the bottom line, folks. Yes, at the bottom line, they are making some moolah. So Uber has achieved profitability at the end of 2023, in 2022 into 2023. So they started getting profitable, and then a full profit 2023 and 2024. So real exciting stuff for this company. So the financials are getting better. So cost efficiency from AI-based dynamic operations. So basically and which driving up margin expansion. So their AI technology is working well, giving them quicker answers to the customers' needs, and that's how they're making them moolah. Number two, yes, on the positive growth, is diversification and growth in adjacent markets. So Uber Freight is flying, gaining traction in logistics in an industry away from the tech disruption. So Uber, they also have Uber advertising business that is going up and up and up, adding a higher margin revenue. That's why you're seeing more profit coming through the company of late. The ride sharing demand at the moment continues to be great, but the question mark is it going to continue? That has been the biggest question mark over this company going into the future. Will this be around forever? And that's why you got to look at negatives, not always the positives, and this is where the negatives can come in and make it interesting. Yes, we're going to look at number one, impact on growth is regulators and the legal risk that could change this company forever. So governments worldwide are enforcing stricter labour laws, which could eventually do a reclassification of drivers to employees. So at the moment, Uber has gone through this a couple of times before, and it's been knocked back both times. But will that continue into the future? We will see, because America was really pushing it, and we will see if they do push it with Donald Trump in there. I'm not sure Donald Trump will be the one to push it. I think they'll be all right while Donald Trump's in there. But if we get back to the Democrat side, then look out for this business. That's, I think, we're the big danger for them in the future, is that the Democrats come in and really push for democracy and employees' rights. And that's where the question mark for Uber is going forward, if they can get this model to continue, because this is where they can potentially lose all their money and go from profitable to back to losing, because they got to pay all the annual holidays, the sick pay, all the levies and all that. So that's where the danger is for them. So it'll be interesting to see if they can continue. And number two on this list, yes, of negatives for this company going forward, is that can they continue in terms of the competition out there. You got the number two in the eat space. DoorDash is smashing them, absolutely smashing them out of the public, saying DoorDash is around 70%, when Uber's at 20%. So way behind, like a 3x behind. So they've got a lot of work to do to really push themselves up the ladder to be the next great company. And also in the ride sharing, they are number one around the world, so about 25% worldwide. And in America, they're about 70%. So they are doing good on that side. But the eat side, that's where they're really struggling, and they need to try and find a way to knock on DoorDash's door. Yes, well, we've had a look now at the strengths and weaknesses. What's the negatives and positives of the growth of Uber? Well, we've got to now check out the stock. What's actually happening with the stock right now? So we're going to do a stock analysis right here, right now for you. We'll look at revenue, we'll look at net profit, we'll look at return on invested capital, the P ratio. We're going to look at it all, so it gives you a better insight into what this company's actually doing right now in the numbers, and whether this stock is worth a buy. or not, do your own research. But let's get to it. Let's have a look and do a stock analysis of the one and only Uber. So Uber is up about 17% on last month, but for the year it's only up 3% in the last year. So it really has been a struggling stock. But over the 5-year period, if you bought it 5 years ago to now, you'll be up 90%, which is probably not that great in the current market, but it is probably around market. Uber's probably around the index market in terms of growth. So they are doing okay, but nothing out of this world. If we look at the stock price, it's been between $52 and $87. So we're looking at the higher range of that at the moment. So will Uber continue in that great? And they're about $78 at the time of recording. So yeah, to me, it's going to be interesting to see how they go forward. Earnings per share at 2.43, and a P ratio of 32, with no dividend. The short interest is about 3%. With a market cap of 164 billion, this company is doing well. Let's have a look at shares outstanding at 2.14 billion, but that has continued to be an up and up and up from 197 billion in 2022. So they continue to dilute you, but again, as I've said a lot of times on this channel, when a stock is continuing to grow, they normally just invest more and more shares out there because they believe people are going to buy the stock into the future. But it doesn't mean it's great for you. In terms of Uber's return on invested capital is 7.5. It's not too bad. Not out of this world, but it's not too bad. Up 105% on the year before, so it's pretty impressive. But does this mean the stock you should buy? Well, let's check out the free cash flow fix. So what's the free cash flow telling us? At the moment, the free cash flow is at the free cash flow is up 100% at around 7 billion. So not the return on invested capital. Sorry, the fix. So I got that. Just about there. So $7 billion right now in cash. So they got some moolah. They could do some more if they want to get into the acquisition side. They need a bit more moolah to get into acquisitions, but it's still a positive sign, up 100% from the year before. Let's now deep dive into the revenue. Let's see what the revenue is doing. Yes, so this company has been at around 414 billion, 3 to 37 billion to 31 billion. So their revenue has been going up and up each year. So that's impressive. Net income has been really impressive. 9.8 billion 2024 for 1.8 billion in 2023 and negative 9.1 billion 2022. So that's where the exciting thing has been with Uber. But the stock hasn't really flown like you would think it would. It's been staggering. And this is probably why. Let's have a look. In terms of revenue, quarterly, been impressive. 11.9 billion, 11.1 billion, 10.7 billion. So each quarter it's gone up and up and up slightly. But the revenue has been all over the show. The revenue's been impressive too, sorry. 6.9 billion, 2.3 billion, and 1 billion. So the stock should be just going up and up and up. What is happening? Was it overvalued before and there's some work to be done? Has the price already been put in and that's why the stock struggled the last year? Well, that's why we're going to find out an intrinsic value to give you an idea of where the stock is currently and into the future. So, yep, if you're looking at just the revenue and net income alone, it's very exciting for the company. In terms of total assets, up 51 billion from 30 billion the year before, which is good. But total liabilities continue to go up from 26 billion to 28 billion this year, so in 2024. So keeps going up. So some improvement could happen there. But yeah, let's have a look now. Now that you've got a bit of the finance, you've got a bit of the history of the company, a bit of the positive and negatives in terms of growth into the future, what is actually the intrinsic value of Uber stock? What is it, folks? Well, I'm going to give you the bear case, the base case, and optimal case out of this, flying to the moon and then out of this world case. So we're going to give you 5 different scenarios where we look at the current share price. We're going to look at earnings per share, the growth rate with the current bond yield, and it gives you an intrinsic value. So it's a basic calculation, but it just gives you an idea of where this company is right here, right now. So let's do it now with Uber. So the bear case of Uber, and we're looking at the stock price about $80 we're going to go with at time of recording. Earnings per share of 2%, a 2 at a 10% growth rate. With the current bond yield, you have a $59 stock. So that's the bear case. If we look at the base case, which is where the company is exactly right now, you could probably put the growth rate up a little bit. So current share price at 80, 2.5 at earnings per share with a 10% growth rate from here on in is a $74 stock. So again, to near fair value. So that is probably why the stock hasn't really flown high. It already had all the supporters already in there, but they haven't seen the continuous growth. And that's when the next wave of people come through. So if the future continues the way they've been going, earnings per share should double to 5 at a 15% growth rate, which I believe they could easily do into the future. Then this is a double up from here, $200 stock. So optimal right now, Uber is probably around that space. I think going forward, that would be a safe bet at the moment, but there's also dangers, which we're going to talk about soon. If it's going to fly to the moon, it's going to get an earnings per share of 10% at a 20% growth rate. You're looking at a $500 stock, which is potential they can do. Earnings per share may take a little bit longer, but definitely a chance of that. But if you think it was going to go out of this world and go pretty much 10x from here, 20% on earnings per share, a 25% growth rate, you're looking at a over $1,200 stock. So does this mean you buy Uber all day, every day? No. Why? I potentially seeing the stock easily going $300 plus. No doubt in my mind it could easily go to $300 plus. But the caveat, the biggest question for this company, there could be big growing pains if they have to be all employees. That is the biggest hurdle Uber have got in the future. If all their drivers have to become employees, costs will go whoo through the roof, and profits will crash and burn. And that is the danger for Uber. Even though they've got some positives in terms of subscription basis, but this is the danger for them. If that happens, the stock could go to turmoil and be even a bankruptcy candidate. I don't think it'll go bankrupt, but I think you'll lose a lot of profit and nobody will invest in this company and it'll just be an average stock. So that's the question mark you have to have in terms of Uber into the future, folks. That's my biggest danger with Uber. But if you think that, and autonomous driving, what happens in autonomous driving? They have to invest in heaps of cars. Have they got the money for that? All that questions. That's going to be the biggest question they're going to have going forward with Uber is in terms of that space. It's another space that they obviously Uber are looking at, and so something they need to work on. But for me, this is a stock at most you want to put 10% into your whole portfolio. I want to be saying this is a stock that's going to make you trillions of dollars. I think it'll make you potentially make you a lot of money, but it's not going to be flying like a Nvidia stock or anything like that. Unless something out of this world sort of happens and they smash DoorDash fall off a cliff and they take over that space as well. But it should be a nice solid investment, but there's no guarantee it'll be long term the greatest. But right now it looks in good metrics to maybe be a $500 stock, but it could easily drop down quite a bit if they have to pay their employees all the benefits of being an employer instead of a subcontractor. That's the danger with Uber. Anyway, that's Barry Charles' stock analysis of Uber and intrinsic value. Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like and subscribe. And I will be back here each and every week with 2 videos just for you on this channel. Have an awesome day out there.